Yes, I'm so hyped. Yes, I am.
Alright, so we're back with another episode of Sisters Through Grief. It's been forever, but the winter time, the snow was doing us dirty. All the way dirty. So today we want to talk about friendships and soul contracts through trauma bonds.
And we have a guest.
We have a guest, our very close friend, Chris.
Hi.
What it do, baby?
Hey, boo. Hi.
So I just want to start out with, I feel like, I've always felt like we all was friends for a reason, and it's different levels of our friendship and whatever, but like literally since Chris and I started talking again, we started talking about trauma bonds, and literally I was like, all of my friends, well not all of them, but like a small amount of my friends are in my life for a specific reason pertaining to my mom passing away. Like starting from Ashley when we were in elementary school, and she was like, you know, my mom died, and instantly I just felt like you can share my mom. Like that's just always how I felt. Like my mom is your mom, and I know she already have like her mom figures and stuff because I love her aunt to death, but I just instantly wanted to give her my mom. And then as I got older and my mom died, I just looked at her like, what have you been doing? Like how do you handle this? Like I need you, and like I needed her. For this whole time, if I didn't know what we were friends for when my mom died, I figured out like why I needed her. And the same thing with Chris, like as long as I known you, you have both of your parents, like, and even though we stopped talking for a while, like soon as your dad passed away, I was just like, oh my God, like, is he gonna be okay?
Child.
And then a couple months later, my mom died. And I was like, oh my God, like what is going on? And the same thing with Gloria. She's not here, but hopefully we can get her on an episode one time. Like, I lived with her, and literally, my mom passed away, and like a month later, her mom passed away, and we were just looking at each other in the apartment, like, what is going on? Like, why is everyone losing their parents, and why do it feel like my close friends are losing their parents? And I feel like it's all for us to be able to empathize together and sympathize together.
Agreed.
How do you guys feel about that?
So for me, obviously, I feel like you're in my life because you did like share your mom with me. Like I spent time with her mom by myself, and she would be in other states and stuff. So that was important for me because I had my aunt, but I didn't have my mom growing up, and I needed her mom. Like I spent holidays with her. I've spent weekends and stuff obviously with her, but it's just important that like our families are each other's families, and we needed that, and obviously we didn't realize how much until her mom died. And then I met somebody when I was in college. We got the same name, our moms died around the same time, and it was, I don't know if it's the same reason, but it was from sickness. And I feel like that's why she was put in my life. And I don't talk to her every day, but I talk to her every now and then. And since we've known each other, we always come back to each other.
Yeah, you guys share that commonality. I didn't even know you had a friend like that.
Me either.
Yeah. But I'm glad you met her because, like, you really need those people to just make you feel like you're not alone. And I've been talking about, like, not being alone, like, on my Instagram for so long, because I think people's biggest issues is that we feel alone in a lot of things, and they think like this problem is just God just gave this to you. Like it's 3 people right here that God just gave it to all 3 of us. So if it's 3 people in a room, you think about any room that you in, I bet you there's like at least a couple people that feel the same way as you.
Right, because everybody empathizes, but people don't vocalize. Like I feel like people need to speak up more when it comes to certain things that we all can empathize on, because at the end of the day, we don't know, we're not mind readers. So at the end of the day, we can kind of speak and be truthful and let each other reconcile our own thoughts, and then make us be at ease. Because when I found out about my homegirl and her mother passing, I was just like, Jesus, I've reached out automatically. Even though it took some time, I had to reach out, because at the end of the day, that's my friend. So it was just like something that I had to let her know that I'm going through the same pain within the months with my father. And it was hard, but I mean, we're prevailing and we're persevering, and that's what it's all about.
Right, I felt the same way, like, when your dad passed away. I'm like, dang, we haven't talked in a while, like, I just don't want to show up because something wrong, but I'm like, yeah, you should show up because something wrong, like, and that's why I feel like friends need each other the most, is to just show up. And even if you didn't come to me directly, if I see through any social media, like, that you're not doing okay, I think any good friend should be like, you good?
Right.
Like, you okay? Like, do you need anything from me? And I think that's what people need to start doing in all types of relationships that they're in. Asking people, are you okay? Can I do anything for you? And that will do so much for your relationship.
Of course.
I feel like.
And even if you feel like it's corny or like that person, if that person doesn't reach back out to you, when they get over whatever they're feeling, they're always going to be thankful that you reached out to them.
That you at least said something, like, even if I'm like in the bed dead and I'm like, are you okay, girl? And I'm like, I guess. And when I feel better, I'm like, yo, like, oh, you see that I was crying.
Right. Because you processed it, and once you process it,
it
takes time to process. People don't process on the same page.
And I think it's okay for like you to be depressed and want to be alone. Like, a lot of people try to force feed positivity to people that's depressed, and it's like, you can't do that. You can't say, oh, you feel bad, feel better. Like,
right.
I think that's the most jacked up thing you could do to anybody. Like, feel how you feel, internalize it, sit in it. You want to wear all black all day, wear all black, baby. Like, you want to do that then. Don't let anybody ever be like, oh, listen to happy music if you feel sad. When I feel sad, I'm trying to listen to that sad stuff that hit the spot. I'm like, oh, she's saying that. Like,
good old Mary.
Sit in it. Not Mary.
I remember when your mom passed away, and I was like, all right, the first week I'm going to check on her every day, but then I have to stop. Like, I have to pull back so she can deal with what she's going through and figure it out for herself.
That's good that you acknowledged that.
Yeah, and she was like, I'm telling you, like, she said it, she was there every day. Like, I'm at the mall, like, trying to buy her a bunch of CBD stuff. She's sitting there with my mom, and my mom coming on the phone like, how is Ashley here and you're not here? I'm like, don't worry about that. I'm trying to do something else. But she was always there, and I'm like, so grateful for that. And even if you can't be there, like, once you find out, like, you found out later and we reconnected later, like, you here, like, and that's something I feel like is so important to me, and I'm going to remember for the rest of my life. So I definitely believe in soul contracts before you come down from heaven's grace, that things happen and is mapped out for a reason, and people are in your life for a specific reason, and it happens to be trauma bonds, Mr. Trauma Bonds.
Trauma bonds.
You put that bug in my head.
I did put it in your head because I had went through a trauma bond thinking that it was an actual bond. You can't go through trauma bonds and then you're bonding with a person based off trauma, because that's going to be a negative hindrance on you. And I feel as though if you want to kind of differentiate a trauma bond through a sacred bond, you got to know what you guys are in it for. And you got to speak, and you got to be clear and coherent, and most importantly, concise.
Right. And I feel like
sometimes you can speak though. Like, you on your end can be doing all the right things, and then on their end, they say what you want to hear, but it's not.
The actions don't add up to it. And I agree. And that's when you got to kind of note that in your mind. I wasn't noting it. I was just letting it go.
When people do shady things the first time, you just got to learn, like, all right, this is how this person is going to be forever.
Right. My mind be full of sticky notes. I'm like, ooh.
Now it is. I wish it was like that prior.
You don't know unless you go through something else.
Exactly.
You never figure it out unless you go through it.
Because I never had a whole situation where it was actually a full-blown relationship where it was a bond that I thought wasn't sacred. All the relationships I've been in, I felt like I invested my time the right way. And sometimes it wasn't reciprocated well. But this time, I felt like it was invested in both ways, but the thing is, the trauma took over. And once the trauma took over, it was like, I know your trauma, you know my trauma, but now I'm going to abuse it. And I'm going to abuse the power and take advantage of it. And that's when I drew the line. Because that's deflection. I don't like deflection of anyone's feelings. So
gaslighting, breadcrumbing,
and I started
all of
gaslighting,
those
and that's
words.
when once I started feeling the emotional abuse getting towards me, I sunk down to the level of being the gaslighter,
Right.
and that's when I realized that that's not who I am.
Right.
So I got to change that, and I got to figure out my target goal of knowing what bond I'm trying to create with somebody that's not going to be introduced to trauma. I don't want to introduce anybody to trauma. We all have our traumas individually. That's not the case.
You gotta be proud of yourself for being self-aware though, because some people are not.
And they have a hard time with that, and I'm like really excited in my life that I have it, because I be like, ooh, stop.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, you have
Like,
control.
I be like, yes, but I definitely like can, relate to what you're saying. Like with my ex-boyfriend, like he used to gaslight me, and I'm not a gaslighter, but like over time, like I started saying little lies and doing little things, and I'm like, this isn't me, and I'm like, why am I in this situation where now I'm changing and now I'm lying and I'm making up things that's not true? I just was like, so that's why I know like we're done.
Yes.
Yeah.
That bond
Is
has to go to God.
Mhm.
No, I'm not a liar. I don't like that energy.
Ooh, the energy that people carry with them,
It's
and how
high.
it transfers
Yeah.
to you.
And then, transference is a big thing.
It'll jump
Transference
on you.
is a big thing. If you don't mitigate it and catch it right then and there, but you got to be active and you got to really think about what's happening in that moment so it won't hinder your future.
Then months later, you be like, who am I? Like, when did I turn into this person? When did I start acting like this?
That's when it starts hindering your future.
But it might be like almost like hours where I feel like someone else's energy isn't mine. I'm like, ooh,
Oh, so you catch it that
I don't
fast.
like that. Like, I'm like, who's this? Like, what's going on?
Oh wow, I'm acting like that, and then you had to really
Yeah.
think about the people you was around and the energies that was aligned with yours at that moment.
And that's when it started to get into that new age stuff that everybody don't like. But I get my stage out and I open the windows.
Oh, well,
And I be like,
yeah.
ooh, you need to get out. But a lot of people don't like that. They want you to pray. If you want to pray to God, do what you want to do. You want to burst on stage. You want to hold your
I'm
crystals.
afraid while
Do what
holding
you-
the
Yes,
while holding the stage.
Like,
A lot of people, they think it don't coincide, but I think religion and spirituality will
Oh, it
go with
definitely
together.
does.
But a lot of Christians would say,
They will look at you funny, and you got to basically really stand in your ground and stand in your faith because spirituality does coincide with
sure.
religion, for sure.
somebody talked to a whole burning bush in the Bible, and then he's oh, you talking to a crystal? I'm not talking to a crystal. Let's just
I'm investing my energy into these
That's what I'm
crystals
saying,
because
like-
it's protecting my home.
right.
If you believe in protection, you believe in the crystals that provide protection to your sacred ground, you're going to invest
Same
in it.
thing with a cross or people that
Exactly.
wear rosaries. Like those are things that you feel connected to God. So why can't you feel connected to God through the earth? Like I just feel like it's a weird thing, but we a little sidetracked. That's a little thing that I got when people talking about that's new age, whatever. Like no, you go to the water, you talk to God, the water, you talk to God in the sky, like. He created everything. There's
That's how
in
I
Genesis, like God created everything.
they say like Buddhism is like a religion, and maybe it is because I could be incorrect. I don't know everything, but they believe that God is in the earth, like things that grow, and I believe that because if He made Earth, then why would He not be a part of the things that grow from the earth?
Right.
Like, it don't
For
make
sure.
sense to me. And crystals come from the
The earth.
earth.
That's what I'm saying. And I just feel like whenever I see somebody post something about that, like you out here praying to a crystal, ain't
Nobody's praying
You're not praying to a crystal. That's just people incompetent, and I don't like
That's
that.
like you don't even know what you're talking about. And now
Exactly.
you're making social media posts, and now people on there talking about, yeah, I don't understand. Go to church. I can go to
church.
and my crystal gonna be right here
in my bra.
in the bosom. In the bosom.
Period, because it's sacred to your heart. Like
And
I get
that's
it.
it.
I get it 100%.
So I feel like back to friendships.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys feel like you have any other friendships that is built through trauma?
Yes, I do. But I kind of cut that person off. I felt like when that's not my relationship, like a friendship. Me and she was a female. We were friends through trauma that happened individually, but I felt like once we became cool, we started going places. Our sacred place was the bar. And you know when you go to the bar, you kind of like drink and you talk and you basically confide in each other, things like that. You have fun because that was the gateway of our friendship. And I noticed that I was investing a lot of time and going to different places, but when it came to important things with me, it wasn't being invested in on her behalf because it wasn't consistent of a bar, it wasn't consistent of alcohol, it wasn't consistent of different type of things that will make her happy. My individuality wasn't making her happy, so I had to deflect that and cut her off.
Because that is heavy energy.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like people have that with a lot of friends. Like when you start to like differentiate like what friends you would do with this and what friend you would do with that, and you're not realizing like not all your friends are supposed to like everything that you like, but I feel like you should like most of the things that I like. So if I could swallow going to the bar with you every Friday, if I want to go to a spoken word, you need to be packing your stuff up and coming with me to the spoken word.
I think I'm a disco. That's what it was always good. And I was just like, oh, she ain't really fucking with it again. So yeah, bye-bye. I get it though, because that's exactly right. Like you got to kind of compromise and meet people where they are when it comes to certain things. Like if you are investing in that and you got a true talent of spoken word and things like that, I'm going to support. That's just what friends are for. You're going to have to support each other. I feel like if we can support each other and not covering the tab for our drinks.
Right.
That's just.
And people be petty with that, like, oh, I got these 2 drinks and you got 4 drinks.
We don't do that. We
Can you split it in the middle? It's what
and I always
split it in 4s, like split it, like.
Girl, if we gotta pay $100 a piece, we just gotta pay $100 a piece. We should have went to this 5-star restaurant, but oh well.
If you don't got no mother, don't come out, okay?
I mean, those the breaks, but I mean, that's what it is.
So when you say trauma bonds, like in friendship, what do you mean? Like y'all both experienced something and that's what made y'all close to each
Yes,
other?
that's the commonalities of our friendship. Like the commonalities is the trauma that we both went through that is similar to the individual things that we went through on our separate times. Like for example, say for instance, Janella had a boyfriend that was kind of dogging her out as far as talking to other girls. I had a boyfriend that was dogging me out talking to other niggas.
We was playing ourselves at the same time.
Well, it's like that, but y'all bonded, y'all didn't know each other. But y'all was like, oh my god, my nigga was dogging me out too. Your nigga was dogging you out. Oh my god, yeah. Do you want to go out with drinks? That's a trauma bomb, but you start doing that over and over consecutively, and you don't realize that y'all built your friendship off of the traumas that y'all had individually. That's a trauma bomb.
Well, he was already friends, but maybe we like made it worse for each other by like being like, girl, they be happening to me, so that's okay.
Mm-hmm. I just feel like you gotta find discernment on whether your trauma bond is a good one or a negative one, and we just navigate through it that way. Like we laugh stuff up all the time. Like I just feel like.
Because that's the case of our friendship. But if our friendship wasn't based on trauma, because we met each other so young.
That's true.
So,
but I feel like it had to go into like the future a little bit, and now we're bonding in a positive way through a trauma bond. That's why I feel like it could either go either way. That you meet somebody that you're doing all this rough stuff with, or you meet somebody that went through something that's like you, and now you guys are cohorting together for a bigger purpose. And I think that's what we're all doing right here. We're sitting right here for.
Yeah, it's not. This is not trauma because FYI, we all went to elementary school and middle school together. So this is not trauma. This is just us growing and elevating. Yes, this is just our bond that happened for 10 years, and now we're pushing. Yeah.
We have a very similar bond, like a very similar trauma that we bonding on right now, and I feel like it's helping us release, and I'm hoping it's helping other people that watch our videos.
Oh, absolutely. Because people want to feel the vibes.
Yeah, and not feel alone, and that's the only energy you're trying to give. You are never alone.
Mm-hmm. And it's nice to talk to people that been through the same stuff.
Yes, the same stuff. So
then you don't feel crazy. Like me and my friend Ashley. Be making jokes about our moms, and it makes everybody else uncomfortable. But it's not uncomfortable for us, and that's how we deal with the sadness of like we don't got no moms.
Right, and I think that you get like this little bit of like cynical like vibe when you
Yeah,
lose
but you
somebody.
can only understand it if you lost somebody.
You're right.
If you
Because
didn't, then you don't think it's funny.
Like,
yeah, because
somebody
losing my dad, I was just like, whoa, child. Like, my dad always been there. It wasn't about us understanding each other and stuff. Like, he just been there, like, physically for 26 years of my life. And then for him, me watching him on hospice and stuff, and him telling me, like, oh, yeah, you got to take care of your mom, and you got to do X, Y, Z. It was just like, whoa, child, like, I do this now. Like, you can't tell me this. Like, I'm doing it now. Child, when he actually transitioned and I was just, like, stuck, I was just like, wait a minute, like, I see what he's doing. But it made me a better man, and for me to be solid and do what I have to do without any regrets, without any hassles, without any hardships, because it's just like, this is just a token of my purpose of being on this earth, is to take care of my mother.
That's so interesting, because when I was little, my mom was sick. Like, before she died, she kept teaching me all these things. She's like, this is how you wash your clothes in case something happens to me. This is how you cook in case something happens to me. This is how you wash the dishes in case something happens to me. I'm like, what's she talking about? Like, nothing's going to happen to her. But then, like, later in life, when my aunt talked to me about it, she was like, she knew that she wasn't going to be here for that much longer. And that's why she kept saying things like that. So that's interesting.
Something like that happened to me before my mom died. Like, she wasn't teaching me things because obviously, like, I was 26. But, like, after we stopped talking for a while, like, that's what I was saying when you were talking. I was like, we both was 26 when we lost our parent. But, like, we were rekindling our relationship, and I took her out to lunch, and we were in the kitchen, and she was like, you need to give me a hug because I'm the only mother you have. And I'm like, I know that. But you think about in my life, like how many times I just hug my mom just because.
Right.
And that was the last time I hugged my mom. Like, that was literally the last time. So it was like, she wanted to give me that, you know, I love you. I'm the only mom you have. And like, I was like, I know you're my mom. Like, that's why I'm here. Like, that's why I want to fix things. And like now, like 2 years past, I'm like, she just wanted to give me that hug. Like,
But I wonder, like, did your dad pass away from being sick?
Yes.
Like, I wonder, like, people whose parents aren't sick, like, do they have that same, like, do their parents still know, like, something may be about to happen to me, so I'm going to do this today? Or, like, just a thought, like, let me do this today.
I don't know.
I don't know.
If anybody wants to be in the comments and have that situation and share with us, we definitely will want to know. Because everyone that I know, like, their parents died through sickness. So,
and just transitioning through, it's just like now it's like, wow, like I'm really doing what I gotta do. Like, we don't be having any issues. My mom is healthy, thank goodness, and everything, but it's just like, that's my daughter now. Like, I have to take care of my mother. I call my mother my boy. I'm like, that's my boy. Hey boy. I come in the house like, hey boy. She do what she gotta do. I'm like, hey boo, she don't bother me at all. That's my daughter. And that's how my dad would want it to be. Like, as long as she good, she good. Like, hey boy.
Let me go home and take care of my daughter.
Shit. Shout out to my daughter.
I'm sorry, Chris Vine, because what?
They can't take it out though.
But I had a really good time talking with you guys.
I
really like this energy. I love Chris. Like, I love him.
I've been the same since 03, y'all.
So,
but I enjoyed myself here too with you guys. Thank you for having me on the show.
Of course. So I guess until next time.
Until next time.
All right.
Self-care is the best care, and also Black media is culture. Ta-ta.